Even though we all hope the NHL season resumes quickly and we get to play out the rest of the regular season, we thought it might be fun to predict how the playoffs might have gone had they started on time and under the current playoff matchups based on points percentage when things shut down. With that in mind, we bring in Ray Ferraro from Vancouver, Craig Button from Calgary. Gentlemen, you've each been assigned a conference. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to get your conference predictions, and then we're going to talk about the Stanley Cup final. Craig, you got the Eastern Conference, so let's get it started.
Well, the number one seed, the Boston Bruins, over the New York Islanders. Simply put, the Islanders are no match for the Boston Bruins. Tampa Bay over Toronto. Stamkos is out, but it doesn't matter. Tampa Bay is a much better defensive team, and the defensive woes of the Maple Leafs will be exposed by the best offensive team in the National Hockey League. Washington over Carolina. How sweet revenge will be for the Caps after losing out in the first round against the Hurricanes in 2019. And I have Philadelphia over Pittsburgh. Philadelphia has surged 15-4-1 in past 20 games with a goal differential of over 1.5 per game. Balanced team up front and on the back end.
Ray, was there anything you heard there that you would take issue with?
No, nothing really that was of issue. I think I would take Pittsburgh over Philadelphia, though, Gino. I like the fact for the first time this year they're healthy. They'll put together the lineup that they envisioned when they got this team together. Philadelphia is great at home, but I think Pittsburgh with a veteran crew can win once in Philly, and they'll win their home games. I got Pittsburgh by a slight hair here.
All right, let's turn our attention now to the Western Conference. Give us your predictions in the opening round of the West.
Yeah, like Craig said, the top seed versus the bottom seed is really not a match. I like St. Louis as a dominant team in this series. They'll knock out Calgary. I like Colorado over Dallas. Colorado scores more frequently than Dallas, and I think they'll defend just well enough to knock out the Stars in a tight series. My upset special is Nashville over Vegas. UC Saros has been fantastic for a month or so in goal, and Philip Forsberg and Ryan Johansson have awakened from a season-long slumber. And in a tight matchup, I've got Edmonton over Vancouver.
Craig, anything you disagree with there?
Well, Ray makes the point about Forsberg and Johansson waking up from a season-long slumber, but their lack of production last year in the playoffs hurt them. I think the Vegas Golden Knights have more difference makers up front.
All right, Craig, let's go back to the East now. Give us your predictions for the second round.
Well, Tampa Bay in a slight upset over the Boston Bruins. Tampa Bay has built their team for this challenge. Goaltending every bit as good. I think the defense group is better, and they have a deeper forward group. They are better positioned to beat a very good team. Stamkos returns. Let's not forget about that. It won't be easy for the Lightning. I think the game on March 7th in Boston was a promissory note to themselves that comes due in this series. And I have Philadelphia over Washington. Washington has been a terrible defensive team. I think it catches up against the Flyers in this series.
Ray, what do you think of those picks?
Well, you get to this point in any playoff year and you're splitting hairs here, but I think there's a chance Boston can beat Tampa. I think Boston's deep. They're strong, they're big, they've got outstanding performance from the top end of the lineup. I think they could beat Tampa Bay here. And for Washington and Philadelphia, Philly's got a rookie goaltender in Carter Hart, who I think is awesome. But somewhere along the line, I think the seasoned Capitals could easily beat the Flyers in what would be another pick'em series.
All right, Ray, give us your second round predictions now in the Western Conference.
I don't see anybody beating St. Louis. Not today, not tomorrow, not another day. The Blues are too good, too deep, and I think they would beat Colorado in this series. And I'm going to stick with Nashville again. I just have a feeling for the first time this year, Nashville had started to put everything together.
Wow, you think Nashville's going to make it to the conference final. Craig, what do you think of that?
Well, I think Ray wants to spend some time in Nashville covering some games there, which everybody loves Nashville.
Yes.
I think the Dave Tippett influence carries through here. You know, they found a way to overcome different challenges over the course of the season. And I like the forward group of the Oilers to be the difference versus the Nashville Predators forwards.
All right, let's get to the Eastern Conference final, Craig. And you've got Tampa against Philly. Who do you like making it out of the East and on to the Stanley Cup final?
I like the Lightning to get to the Stanley Cup final over the Philadelphia Flyers. They're better through their lineup, from the goal, in the blue line, and up front. And I just don't think that what they've gone through in beating the Bruins, there's no remnants of last year hanging around their heads wondering what it takes to win.
All right, Ray, I'm going to assume you're not going to argue against Tampa getting to the Stanley Cup final. So
Nope.
who do you see coming out of the West to meet them in the Cup final?
Well, it's St. Louis. I've been waiting all year for another team to make a serious challenge to make me think that maybe St. Louis couldn't do this again, and I just don't see it. I think the Blues are a terrific team. I have them going to the Stanley Cup.
All right, guys. So the Stanley Cup final, according to your predictions, the defending Stanley Cup champs, St. Louis Blues, and the team that was favored to win it all last year and disappointed, the Tampa Bay Lightning. So who wins the Stanley Cup? Craig, let's start with you.
I think the Stanley Cup will be awarded to the Tampa Bay Lightning. This is what they've been waiting since last year's debacle to play for. They now know what the challenges are, and the St. Louis Blues will pose significant challenges like the Bruins. But they have a hard forward group down their lineup. They have the skill up front, and they have that bitter taste of being favorites last year. They're not going to let it slip this year.
I'm with you, Craig. I think Tampa Bay is going to win, and I look back to even the end of last summer. They picked up an ex-St. Louis Blue in Patrick Maroon, and that started a cascade of players that they've added to their lineup. Harder, bigger, more suited to play in a tough playoff series. They traded first-round picks for Barclay Goodrow from San Jose and Blake Coleman from New Jersey. They added Zach Bogosian after he was bought out in Buffalo. What do those four guys have in common? They're big, they're strong, they can play in a tight series. Tampa Bay is built for this series. I think it would be a fantastic series, but I have the Lightning coming out on top.
You know what, guys? It's a lot of fun playing out these predictions on paper. You know what all hockey fans are hoping right now? That we get a chance to see this all play out on the ice.